Welcome to the In Shape Fitness Show. I'm Kim Watkins, and I will be your trainer for this week's workout, which we're calling Kegels and Cardio. Little sort of cute play on a couple of very important components to your body's overall total health. Obviously, the cardio component means that we're going to be doing a lot of active jumping and jogging in place and shuffling in place and those kinds of things to keep your heart rate elevated the entire time. But intermittently, we are also going to completely slow it down so that you can focus on your awareness of your pelvic floor muscles and how to perform Kegel exercises. I'll be reminding you over and over again to add Kegels in the simplest of moves. And we're going to start actually with a standing swim to warm your body up. So we're going to get right into it with some Kegels while we're doing the standing swim. This is for men and women. Most people tend to think of Kegels as a women's exercise that has to do with childbearing, and yes, that is vital. And we write about that in our newsletter this week. So if you can take a look at that, but it is also very much a component of male strength in terms of the pelvic floor area or pelvis area, the control of the organs in that area, digestive, urinary and sexual health, and it's just all around super important. So with all that, get yourself standing up for me. Make sure that you are hopefully in your bare feet. I prefer bare feet for these workouts, but I understand that if you have shoes on, but go ahead and make sure your shoulders are back, your shoulders are relaxed and back, chest open, ribs high. So really open up your chest area and breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Now focus on tucking that tailbone in, making sure that your pelvis, your actual pelvis, is vertical, completely vertical. From standing, people tend to stick their butt out a little bit. The pelvis tilts forward a lot. There are other deviations that are the opposite of that, but you really just want to make sure that your pelvis is completely upright and that you're squeezing your tummy muscles. Now, bring your feet together. Your toes and heels should touch. And you're going to swim like you're Michael Phelps in the Olympics, not super fast, but with controlled freestyle swim, just to warm up the upper body and allow you a few seconds here, starting to 30 seconds now, by the way, so go ahead and get started, to really focus on not only squeezing those tummy muscles, but drawing, sort of scooping in and up through that pelvic area. That is a Kegel. Now, a Kegel, specifically or biologically speaking, is the sort of control of the muscles that control your bladder. So that's why practicing or thinking about not peeing, if you will, is how you do a Kegel. It takes a little bit of an effort to figure out exactly how it works, but once you start doing it, you'll realize that there's a great deal of value in it. Now let's take it up to a little bit of a march. You're going to do a high knee march. Start to get the blood flowing a little bit more in the legs and get your heart rate up a little bit. So you want your knees to be lifted as high as your hips. Swing your arms forward and back. 30 seconds is going now. So, yeah, this is going to be kind of an interesting workout. It is high impact in that there will be some jumping, but it's not super high impact in that there'll be sustained jumping. There'll be kind of 30 minutes on and pretty heavy, and then really 30 seconds rather, pretty heavy, and then 30 seconds slowing it down and focusing on control, awareness, Kegels, and really isometrically contracting muscles that do a lot in terms of not just the Kegel, the muscles internally that control your organs, but also those little muscles on the inside of your hips that don't get a lot of action, where you can really focus on squeezing them, and that engages them more in terms of the movement that we do that's high energy. Okay, now you're going to do a half moon to the right. So you're going to come back together into a standing position with your feet, heels and toes touching. You're going to clasp your hands, palms totally together, up over your head. If you need to clasp your thumbs, cross your thumbs, that's fine, but don't let any air in through your palms. Your arms should be perfectly straight. Take a deep breath in as you exhale. Lean down to the right, not so far. You don't have to get a huge extension here, but just hold this. 30 seconds is going right now. Now breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Keep those tummy muscles engaged, and again, scoop in and up through that lower part of your abdomen and squeeze those pelvic floor muscles. Good. 10 more seconds. Very nice. Gonna start getting the heart rate up a little bit more now. We're gonna do a stationary shuffle. So we'll do the left half moon in just a moment. What you're gonna do is start pitter-pattering your feet super fast on your floor, landing lightly on the balls of your feet. Your arms can be down at your hips or swinging back and forth beside you, or if you're more aerobically inclined, you lift your arms up in front of your face and do a vertical chop with at your elbow joint. Just sort of chop, 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 chop. You guys might know that if you follow my workouts. I call that crazy monkey, but for now we're just doing the stationary shuffle. 30 seconds is going now, so get going. We're going to get the heart rate up really, really high in 30 seconds. You should feel a bit of a jiggle in your butt, probably maybe in that, if you've got a flabby ab area. No more flabby abs by making the juggle happen. Very good. Keep it going. Another 10 seconds. I know this is hard, but again, it's only 30 seconds. So absolutely everything that we're going to be doing, we'll be doing for 30 seconds. And so if it's intense for you, you know, the cool thing to know is that it's going to stop. Okay, you're good. Now, bring your feet back together. Stand up really tall. Press those palms together. Again, really super tall. Draw in the rib cage and lift your chest with your breath. Press the palms together. Feet are touching and lift over to the left. I'll start the 30 seconds now. Once again, this is when you want to be doing those Kegels exercises. And the other thing that's kind of cool about Kegels is that when you do them, you know, you're scooping in and up, you're really squeezing those, focusing on the squeeze of those muscles in the pelvic floor region. It's impossible not to contract your ab muscles. And in some way, it also makes me at least contract my butt cheeks, you know, like to really squeeze everything in the area. So by gaining that awareness, you've got 10 more seconds, by the way, you get a chance to really focus on all of that area, just with that one little exercise that I think a gynecologist invented. It's his last name for pregnant women. Okay, now we're going to do a slow squat. So plant your feet shoulder width apart. Make sure that your pinky toes and heels are in line. So you really want to make sure that your feet are straight, and you're going to extend your arms forward for balance. Take a deep breath in as you sit down and back into an imaginary chair. Don't let your knees go past the tips of your toes. Squeeze your butt cheeks as you start lifting back up to a count of 4 or 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the speed that you want to go for this slow squat. All right, 30 seconds is starting now. Inhale as you lower your body, and as you exhale and you lift up, you really want to focus on squeezing your glutes, your butt cheeks, pressing your heels into the floor, and then when you get to the very tippy top, kind of thrust your pelvis forward so that you really feel the hip flexors and their fully most extended position, that lengthened position. All right, keep it going. You've got another 10 seconds. I get sometimes a little confused, and sometimes I like to push you a little past the 30-second mark, but these are little tricks of the trade, tricks of the trainer trade. All right, now we're down to 3 seconds. So finish the one that you're on. Good. All right, now bring your body into first position ballet. Yes, men, I don't care if you're a guy, you're doing this. There are plenty of male ballet dancers. So your heels should be touching, your toes should be as wide as possible so that you should feel somewhat imbalanced. And now, before we do this, we're going to do some heel lifts. But before you do this, just kind of gain a sense of how your muscles are contracting in the first position, because you should feel those inner thighs really engaged, and you should feel your glutes contracting almost automatically, right, if you're doing it correctly. So squeeze your tummy muscles. Again, this is a really good time to practice focusing on the awareness of that area that will allow you to do Kegels properly, scooping in and up through the pelvic floor region. Now, we're going to do a heel lift. All you're going to do is slowly lift your heels up and then lower them back down. Your hands are either on your hips, or if you're really channeling your inner ballerina with me, you're going to bring your hands in front of your body in a circle, as you would in a pirouette, I guess. I get my terms mixed up with ballet because I'm not a ballet dancer myself. But here we go, 30 seconds. Slow is the name of the game here. Really lift up high, lift those heels up, and lower back down. And make sure when you lower back down that your heels go back to a touching point. And that's the hard part, actually, because in this case, I always talk about keeping your feet straight, like don't turn your toes out. When you go in the opposite extreme case, you fully turn your toes out. You work that inner thigh. And because your balance is off, your thighs want to help, and your feet are going to start to separate. You've got 3 more seconds, by the way. We're not getting out of the position yet, though, so stay where you are. You're done with that. You can stop lifting your heels. Now we're going to do a demi-plie, which is that you're going to lower your body just about 4 to 6 inches and then come back up. And if you already do this exercise with me on a regular basis, because I do these ballet moves quite often in the muscle maintenance series of podcasts, you can do the demi-plie and add the heel lift to make it a little bit harder. But you're going to do the demi-plie. I'm starting the 30 seconds right now. And you're off. So lower down as you inhale. Again, as you exhale, you lift back up, press your heels into the floor, and you don't really have to focus on squeezing your glutes. As I said before, in this position, your glutes are contracted because they're working they're working their butts off in order to keep you balanced. That's kind of the beauty of this position. I've actually taken to using it quite a bit. Okay, we're going to do some jumping jacks next. Ready, set, and go. Jumping jacks for 30 seconds. Landing lightly on the balls of your feet, jumping way out, and no wet noodles for arms. Lift those arms up over your head. Touch your fingers at the top. And pick it up if you need to. If you're already pretty aerobic, you can take them up to power jacks. Double time it for the last 10 seconds here. About halfway through the workout now, coming up on 12 minutes. You're doing great. I know it's not easy to make yourself sort of go through one of these podcast workouts, but I really appreciate your listening. All right, we're going to keep it up right now with one other aerobic move, cardio central right this second. I told you we're only going to do one, but I'm taking that back now. We're going to do a cross-country ski. So now instead of jumping out, you're jumping forward back, scissoring your feet, and if you can, use those arms, swinging wide forward and back as well. 30 seconds is starting now. Very nice. Again, landing lightly on the balls of your feet. Use your hamstrings to get those legs back. Don't just use your quads. So focus on the back of your body too. And keep it going for another 10 seconds. Excellent. Going to slow it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, bring your feet back together. Stand up real tall again. Squeeze those tummy muscles. Lift your arms back over your head again and press the palms together again. If you need to cross your thumbs, that's fine, but try to keep your biceps back behind your ears. This is called an eye stick. All you're going to do is stand there for 30 seconds. Go. Once again, scoop that lower abdomen in and up, squeezing the pelvic floor muscles, working on Kegels. Now, you should really focus on trying to just do them and pause as you squeeze, and then you can release a little bit, and then you should pause again at the next squeeze. Try to pause a little bit longer each time, where you can get to holding the Kegel, like really holding that Kegel squeezed at the most squeeze sort of you can for 10 or more seconds. But you're not going to be able to do that in the beginning. You're barely going to be able to even understand what it is. If you're new to this, then that's fine. Just focus on it, and you will get there eventually. Okay, now we're going to go down to the floor. Mountain climbers are coming up. So get yourself into push-up position. Hands on the floor with your shoulders directly over your hands. And you can start on your knees for a second while I finish explaining it, just in case you don't know what a mountain climber is. You're going to be sort of running your feet forward and back as though you're kind of scaling a mountain, and landing lightly on the balls of your feet. Now, if you need to do it as kind of a walk, that's fine. But if you're doing the mountain climber, at the full speed, you're jumping your feet forward and back. Both feet leave the floor at the same time, and both feet land at the same time, if that makes sense. Okay, so now get yourself up onto your toes. Let's start the 30 seconds right now. Go. Mountain climbers. Great way to get the heart rate back up. Make sure you keep your butt down. By keeping your butt down, you keep your abdominal muscles engaged. Those all of those layers of abdominal muscle around the rib cage and the side of your abs, the oblique muscles, and then the front and the rear sort of outward muscles are all engaged when your butt is down. When your butt is up, you're not engaged quite as much. It's still hard, but not quite as hard. Almost finished. 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Good job. Okay. Now, lower your body down to your forearms. We're going to do a standard plank on your forearms next. You can probably imagine that I'm going to talk about Kegels again, which I am. But let's get you into a proper form for your plank. Your elbows and shoulders should be perfectly in line. You're going to walk your feet back out onto your toes. This is again why I prefer no shoes, because it's so much easier to flex your feet when you don't have any shoes on your feet. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold your body into this plank position for 30 seconds. If you need to, if you cannot hold it for 30 seconds, you can lower your body to your knees, but don't fall out completely onto your tummy. All right? Time starts now. And squeeze. Yes. Draw in and up through that abdominal, that pelvic floor region. Again, focus on squeezing those pelvic floor muscles. Those are your Kegels in action. Actually, the Kegel isn't an actual muscle, but it's a figure eight sort of wrap of a thin layer of muscle that coordinates the actions of your urinary tract and the sexual organs and your digestive tract, lower digestive tract. Keep it going. Squeeze your butt cheeks. Do those Kegels. We're going to go up onto our knees and do a bird dog coming up next. The movement of the lower limbs prevents you from being able to really do a Kegel, so I'll stop talking about it for a second. Okay, you're done. Now get yourself into the hands and knees position, prone position, where you are, or quadruped position, I guess, rather, where your knees are directly underneath your hips. So separate your knees a little bit, and your hands are still on the floor, like they were for the mountain climbers. Hands under your shoulders. Now I want you to extend your right arm straight out so that your bicep is near your ear, and turn your palm in towards your head, and at the same time extend the left leg straight back. Now you want one flat sort of surface that your body exists on, so you don't want the hip to end up going up, and you don't want the shoulder that's moving to go up. You want flat shoulders, flat hips. Now switch. Left arm and right leg. Pause as you extend. Try to increase the distance between your fingertips and your toes. Then switch. Let's start the 30 seconds now. This is called a bird dog. Fairly standard spinal stability exercise. What you're working here in diagonal dimensions, you're working the paraspinal muscles that are underneath that big trapezius muscle that sort of lays across the back of the upper back. Underneath, the muscles that connect all of the spine segments together are paraspinal muscles, and they're little vertical muscles, and they benefit from this diagonally dimensional extension of the limbs in this position. And as I'm ranting, you're coming up on the 30 seconds here, but the next move you're not going to like me for. I'm sorry. It's push-ups. Yeah, sorry, but here you go. Let's do some push-ups. All right. If you're going to do them on your toes, get yourself ready. You know how to do your push-ups. Widen your hands if you need to in order to activate and recruit those chest muscles. And if you're going to do them on your knees, just remember to make sure your thigh muscle is 45 degrees away from the floor, right? You're not really resting on the knee joint, actual knee. You're resting at the bottom of the thigh. 30 seconds is going now. Coming up on 19 minutes for the workout. You're doing great. After this, we have 5 moves left, so you are close to finishing. Keep your push-ups going, inhaling as you lower your body, pushing up with the exhale. Control the movement. Don't let gravity or momentum help you out. Very good. Last couple. And we're going back to another plank. We're going to do a little corkscrew plank though. So get yourself back into your plank position on your forearms and your toes. And this is a little hip dip. So you're going to dip your right hip down, then your left hip down, and just corkscrew your hips for 30 seconds. And time starts now. Very nice. Remember to squeeze those butt cheeks. Again, you're moving in this area, so it's not the easiest to try and contract the pelvic floor muscles as you're moving your hips. So, just squeeze. Make sure that you're staying in it here, breathing. Don't forget to breathe. Holding your breath is the worst thing you can be doing right now. You've got 10 more seconds to go and 4 more moves. Going to turn your body over. Finish up with a hip bridge and tricep dips, and then 2 crunches, and we will be finished. So you're done. Go ahead and turn your body over. Lay down on your back, head on the floor, hands down by your sides, feet on the floor, pinky toes and heels in line, and you're going to lift your hips up into the bridge. Now, I'm just going to have you hold this position. If you would like to do something more, I'll talk about that in a second. But why don't you go ahead and get up into the hip bridge position. Lift your hips up. Don't curl your pelvis, like overextend your pelvic, like the butt sort of up underneath. You really just want a flat triangle that you're making with the floor. And breathe. Make sure you don't lift your toes up. You want to press your toes into the floor. When your toes come up, your lower back and your quads take over your body weight. And you really want to make sure that you use the back of your leg in conjunction with the hip flexors to hold your body up into this position. Now, if you want to lift one leg up to make it a little bit harder for a couple seconds and then shift to the other leg, that's great. 30 seconds is already going. You're about 10 seconds in. Otherwise, just hold the position and practice those Kegels. Scooping in and up through the lower part of your abdomen, right at the crest of the pelvis, in between your legs. Up, squeeze. 5 seconds longer. Press those toes into the floor. 3, 2, and 1. Nice. Okay, now you're going to sit all the way up. Put your hands on the floor beside your butt with your fingers facing forward. The feet stay exactly in the same position. And lift yourself all the way up into a tabletop. Try to get the hips completely parallel to the floor. Your body is parallel to the floor along with the thigh. And we're going to bend the elbows and push back up into a tricep dip. Simple enough, right? Tricep dips often done on chairs. But I really prefer them on the floor because when you press those toes into the floor, you're doing a lot more for your body than when you're just sitting upright and sort of scooting off the edge of a chair or a bench and doing your tricep dips sort of in a vertical position. Down in this horizontal position, you're working a lot more. Okay, let's start the 30 seconds. Go ahead and get going. Coming up on 23 minutes for our workout, and we have 2 moves after this. So you'll be finished within 25 minutes total body workout, and easily a free pass to skip the gym today. So good job all the way around. Almost finished. Make sure you're breathing. Make sure those toes stay on the floor. Last 10 seconds in the tricep dips. Keep those hips up high. I know you want to drop them. 3 seconds. And very good. Very good. Okay, let's do 2 crunches. The first is a bridge crunch, so it's really kind of just a standard crunch in conjunction with alternating with a hip bridge. So go back to the hip bridge position where your hands are on the floor. Your hands are actually going to be behind your head for this one, and your feet are on the floor. Your knees are bent, your butt's down. But now you're going to lift your hips up, lift your butt up, lower it back down, and do 1 crunch, lifting your head, your shoulders, and the top of your rib cage. Squeeze those tummy muscles. And alternate. 30 seconds is going now. So close. Such a great job. I know you're sick of hearing about the Kegels, but this is another good time, especially when you lift up into the hip bridge. You're squeezing. Very good. 10 more seconds. Awesome. Squeeze one more time for me in that crunch. Hold it there. 3, 2, and relax. Last move, dead bug crunch. That means you're going to bring your elbows to your knees, right over top of your belly button. Squeeze as you lift your head, your chest, and your shoulder blades up. You're lifting your feet up off the floor in order to squeeze your elbows. Just your right elbow to your right knee, left elbow to the left knee, then back to start with your head on the floor and your feet on the floor. Okay, let's start the 30 seconds now. This is where we're finishing up. You've done a great job here. Make sure you squeeze. Start slowly to make sure that you're doing it correctly. And then start picking up the pace. You're about halfway through here. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you so much for listening in to the end of the Kegels and Cardio Workout. I have lots of other options for you from the InShape Fitness Show, so feel free to browse the different podcasts and let me know if you have any questions about any of the moves. If you need further more information, you can visit inshape-fitness.com, always for the quick reference guide of the workout that we have currently going on, which is this one, of course, today. And muscle maintenance starts on Monday with an easy workout and uses the same 6 moves all through the week, just with a little added difficulty in each of the days of the week, Monday through Friday, with the Friday being the major butt kick workout of the muscle maintenance week. So join me for that workout podcast as well. I'm Kim Watkins from InShape Fitness. It was great working with you today. Thank you so much. See you soon.